Hello, I'm with Jill Duff and Nicholas Heale, the author of the book Holding God's Gaze, a book about the saints. And we're thinking about one of the medieval saints, St. Catherine of Siena. Tell us a little bit about St. Catherine, Father Nicholas.
So she lived in the 14th century in the middle of Siena, which at the time was one of the richest and most sophisticated and glamorous places in Europe. Hugely wealthy, very, very prosperous. People who love art history will think of Siena as one of the most stunningly beautiful cities, full of among the most beautiful art that there is. So it was awash with money and awash with powerful people and people who were very successful in a worldly way. Yes. In that world, Catherine felt drawn to a life of poverty and self-restraint and commitment to prayer and the practice of faith. And she understood the calling of God upon her in a way that made some people think that she was a bit like a prophet for her day and age. She sought to make peace between warring factions across Tuscany and the rest of Italy. She sought to be a bridge builder between disputing factions within a very, very divided and broken church. And one of the things that's really fascinating about her is that by the time her life reached its end, which it did in her mid-30s, she was still young, almost everything she had sought to do, she had failed to achieve.
And that's really interesting, isn't it? And what does that tell us? That, by earthly standards, you'd see this life as a failure?
Catherine embodies, in a way that many of these saints that we reflect on embody, a sense of reviewing what's going on in the world where we live and the things that we're seeking to do, not through the lens of the perspective which our eyes see, but in the context of the whole framework of the unfolding of eternity as God sees. And in the face of success or failure, entrusting ourselves to the mercy of God, because it is the mercy of God, the kindness of God, the power of God, which is our strength and our vision and our guide, rather than anything that we ourselves can do. So Catherine is somebody who really, really embodies this self-entrustment to the mercy of God. And she did so in the face of terrible illness. At one point I comment in the book on the way in which she became very, very present to me when I arrived in Siena in the middle of a walk I was making along the pilgrimage route from Canterbury to Rome, and I'd sprained my ankle. So as a person with a wounded body, I hit this town where there was this wounded saint who had not let woundedness define her or overwhelm her, but in the face of woundedness and seeming failure, had entrusted herself to the weakness of God, as the Apostle Paul puts it, which is stronger than any human strength.
And Bishop Jill, when you discovered St. Catherine, what did you make of her? How did she speak to you?
Oh, well, I was particularly drawn to her through that famous quote that she's famous for, that be who God called you to be, and you will set the world on fire. And I used that for some designed ordination cards for some of our new priests, and they've really travelled, actually, that sense of being all who, the way in which we might carry the fire of God is by being everything we're made to be.
Lovely. Let's hear a prayer of St. Catherine then, shall we?
Eternal God, eternal Trinity, you have made the blood of Christ so precious through his sharing in your divine nature. You are a mystery as deep as the sea. The more I search, the more I find, and the more I find, the more I search for you. But I can never be satisfied. What I receive will ever leave me desiring more. When you fill my soul, I have an ever greater hunger, and I grow more famished for your light. I desire above all to see you, the true light, as you really are. Amen.
Amen.